what do men need to provide in order to find the woman they want? It seems the ability to provide a better lifestyle is the number one thing a woman is looking for, right?
Oh, generally, yes. So women treat men the way men treat jobs. And this will help men not take the dating process as personally as they might otherwise. Think of it this way. You might, as a man, have no problems at your current employment. You might feel that you're perfectly happy there. But if one day a recruiter called up and said, "Hey, Orion, I got an offer for you. Would you be interested in coming over to this company? We'll triple your salary. We'll give you unlimited paid time off. We'll give you a promotion. And we'll make sure that you never have to work on any of the projects you don't want to work on ever again."
I'll take it.
You're at least going to consider that offer strongly. And the vast majority of people are going to say, you know what? There's no problem here, but I have to do this for my career. And that's what a lot of guys hear, especially when they're young, when the women break things off, because in the vast majority of cases, that's what women do. They say something like, you know, you were great. I don't have any complaints about this. I just have to do this for me. This is something that I need to do for myself right now. It's the same thing. And everybody will understand at that company that this was the right move for your career. No one is going to say, oh, after all we've done for you, it's like, it's a fucking job. It's business. And if that person were in the same position, he or she would also have accepted the offer as well. So we don't need to get on our high horse and pretend to a righteousness that we probably don't possess. So the best way to attract a woman is to be a woman's best offer, to be a woman's best option, okay? And this is no small feat, because when you're 18 and you're a man, you have fuck all. Like, it's extremely difficult to be a young man in today's society, and it is not appreciated at all in popular culture. It's very, very difficult because at 18, women don't want you because you have nothing that women want. You don't have any wealth. You don't have any status. You don't have any emotional maturity. You're not ready to settle down and have kids. You're useless. You're just a big throbbing hard-on. And you can't even use that to transact for anything of interest for the woman. And you're kind of useless to men because you have no skills, you have no experience, you have no mastery. You're a liability on the fucking team. Like, I can help you, you can't help me. God forbid I have to fall, because are you going to catch me? Absolutely not. So it's like young men are double fucked. They're at the lowest of the low of all of their status hierarchies that they have to compete in. And they can be that way for 10 years. Because it can take about that long to develop an emotionally compelling lifestyle that might be the best option for a woman that man is authentically attracted to. Okay? So what do men have to do? They have to do a lot. And the first thing they have to do is they have to learn how to wait. So this has to do with let's call it the normalized sexual marketplace values of men and women, according to the research. So women's normalized sexual marketplace value peaks at 18 years old and drops precipitously from that day forward. It never rises again. Men's normalized sexual marketplace value is lowest at 18, gradually rises up until about 40, remains constant for about another 20 years, and then slowly declines into old age. It isn't until 30 years old that the average male sexual marketplace value exceeds the average woman's sexual marketplace value for the very first time. This means that women's default action is to act. Like, all things being equal, they will never be in a moment where they can demand the relationship they want from the man they want to have it with than today. Because for the vast majority of women, this is when they're going to have their highest valuation in the sexual marketplace. So their default is to act. On the other hand, most men will never be more disadvantaged in the sexual marketplace than they are today. With each passing year, they accumulate more experience, more wealth, more status, more prestige, and these are the things that are instrumentally connected to women's attraction to men. So the first thing that men need to learn how to do is to wait, because it could be a while. It could be a while before they can start to enjoy an advantage in the sexual marketplace. And most guys don't get there in the sense that they commit and foreclose before they experience that possibility. It's not a coincidence that the average age at first marriage in this country is 29. Remember I just said that 30 is the day when, or the year when the sexual marketplace polarity switches for the very first time, and it never, ever returns. So most marriages happen at the last moment that a woman enjoys a power differential over the man in the sexual marketplace. This is the smartest fucking thing that she could possibly do. Because if she were to wait another year or two, she might not have been able to get that same commitment even from that same man. Because she will have declined a little bit and he will have gone, and he'd be like, oh, well, wait a minute. I'm starting to get some options here. I kind of feel attractive. Women are kind of showing themselves that they're interested in me, maybe for the very first time, you know what I'm saying? But most men never get to a place where they are more attractive than most of the women that they're dealing with. And so they think that it's almost like just a woman's right or an innate privilege to have that kind of attraction. It's not. It's just the consequence of being in a favorable moment in the sexual marketplace. Men don't always get there. They have to play their cards right, but they might get there eventually later in life. Like a Division I athlete or a professional athlete a little bit later in life, a partner at a prestigious law firm, a politician. These guys, they understand that because they've played their cards right, they have incredible optionality with women these days. Okay, so men need to learn how to wait. So what do they have to, but they can't just sit there. So that men have to do three things really to become attractive to women. And these are things that I am extrapolating in the context of my metaphor for the sexual marketplace, which is a big dock, like a pier where all the ships moor, right? Is that women are looking for a captain. And there are three things that men have to do to become a captain. They have to build a boat, they have to learn to sail, and they have to plot a course. Build a boat, learn to sail, plot a course. And those three things can take 10 years at least to do. And if it's going to take 10 years, you might as well get started, right? So build a boat is a metaphor for your lifestyle. It's going to take two things to build a boat. Resources, because wood ain't free, and it's going to take knowledge. The knowledge is a part that doesn't get a lot of airtime in today's society. Everyone's thinking about the money. Money is extremely important. But if you don't have knowledge about how money works, you're not going to be able to keep the money if your fool ass actually lucks out and is able to get it. You know, if you don't understand what women are and how they operate, you're not going to be able to keep one if you actually have the good fortune to attract one into your life. Do you understand? So the knowledge that we're looking for is awareness for how reality actually works. Not how we want it to work, not how we think it should work, not how our society tells us it's supposed to look, but how it actually works. Because if we can understand the principles and the laws by which reality operates, we can flow with those currents and we won't be vulnerable when we're out on the open sea. So we need resources and we need the knowledge and experience to be able to maintain all those good things that we built indefinitely. Because what's the point in taking a castle if we can't keep it, right? Then we have to learn how to sail, which is the development of some kind of mastery or expertise. The fact of the matter is that women want successful guys. And successful men are not necessarily virtuous men. They're not necessarily good men. They're not necessarily the best men or nice guys. The fact of the matter is that successful men are men that other people want things from. That's it. Successful men are successful to the extent that lots of people want things from them. The more people want things from you, the more successful you are as a man. If nobody wants anything from you, no one will give you the fucking time of day if you're a guy. That's just how it is. Now, this is the flip side of the male. This is the male experience to the equivalent to the, let's say, the sexual objectification that women complain about and experience. Oh, men just want to fuck me. It's like, yeah, kinda. And if they didn't, they wouldn't be talking to you. The equivalent of that is, well, these women just want things from me. It's like, yeah, but if they didn't, they wouldn't be talking to you, dude. So it's like, pick your poison. We both have our struggles to deal with, but ultimately, we have to be useful to others. And a successful man has developed a solution for a problem that many people have. And those people will line up with dollars in their hand to hand it over to that guy for that solution. Okay? So this could be anything from being a successful community plumber to being a startup entrepreneur with the next app that's going to solve a social crisis. It could be anything, but you need to be able to solve many people's problems, and many people will need to want things from you in order to be successful. That's learning how to sail. And the third component is plotting a course. This is really important, is every man needs to have an overarching mission to his life. This is important because when we're out in the open sea, it's where there are no features of land, it's very easy to get lost. And how did the navigators of old traverse the wastes? By looking at the stars, because the stars relative to the Earth move in very fixed patterns. We also will be blown off course by currents and weather. And if we don't have a star to sail by, it's going to be very difficult to get ourselves back on course. And we can't get ourselves back on course if we never had a course to begin with. So the overarching mission to a man's life also prevents him from doing stupid things with respect to women, like making women the center of his life. The fastest way to lose a woman is to make her the center of your life. Because women want a guy who's on his shit. They want a guy with ambition, with drive, with purpose. They don't want to be that ambition, drive, or purpose. They want to be next to the guy with those things and to enjoy the fruits of all of that ambition, drive, and purpose. But if the woman becomes the ambition, drive, and purpose, then functionally the whole operation begins to fall apart. And this also helps a guy to resist the urge to appease in moments of crisis with a woman, because it can very much happen in the course of a relationship where an unhappy woman might make certain unreasonable demands of a man. Either you work too much, you spend too much time at work, so either you need to spend more time at home or I'm walking, for instance. Well, of course, him working so much is part of the reason why she was attracted to him to begin with. Him working so much is what got him the money and the houses and the reputation that made it likely that she chose him over all her other options. She doesn't say when she goes out to dinner or on vacations or when she drives her car that it's too bad that the guy works so much. And if this man in that moment were to cater to that woman's demand, and he were to lose both his professional reputation and success and the relationship, he would deserve it. That would be his foible. And that's where men are mostly weak, is a lot of guys find it very difficult to stand up to a woman's negative emotionality, whether it's their anger and their upsetness, or their tears, or their guilt tripping, or their shaming. All men, it seems, have an emotional thumbscrew. There's like one emotion, for whatever reason, is particularly difficult for them to bear. And if a woman sticks around you long enough, she's going to figure out what that emotion is. And if she twists the screw on that particular emotion, and you bend, and you appease, and you change as a consequence of attempting to avoid that temporary pain and discomfort of coming into contact with that unpreferred emotion, what you will do is create a monster in your relationship, because you'd be training this woman unconsciously to know that whenever she really needed to get what she wanted, all she had to do was hurt you in this way.
And she loses respect.
She loses respect, and the guy feels even less appreciated as well, because she often doesn't even want the thing that she's demanding in that moment. So it's just not a bad, it's a very bad idea. Let's put it that way. So that's what men have to do to attract a woman. They have to build a ship, which is to develop an extrapolated, interesting, emotionally compelling lifestyle. They have to learn to sail, which is they have to develop expertise and skills that are of use to other people. And they have to plot a course. They need to have an overarching mission to their life, something that is more important to them than, I guess, anything else, really. It has to be more important than anything else. If it's not, then a woman will figure out what that other thing will be, and that will be your downfall. That will be your downfall.
So you've told us what women can do to get the man they want, and you've told us what men could do to get the women they want. But there's more to it, isn't there?
Of course.
The game.
Oh yeah, the game is infinite.
I can be a wealthy, handsome man with a great future, sitting at a bar on Saturday night, and nothing's going to happen for me, right?
Correct. Especially if you're a man. If you are a decently attractive woman and you were to sit by yourself at a bar on a Saturday night, whether you wanted it or not, you would soon have company. But a man could be brilliant, he could be rich, he could be a neurosurgeon, and he could drink by himself all night. Okay? So men need game in the sense of they need to they need some strategy in order to attract the opposite sex. That's very different from the strategies that women do. I'm not going to say that women don't have to do that. They do all kinds of things to their appearance, right? Because that's generally what's most important to men, especially on first blush, with respect to their attraction to women. So they do all kinds of things with respect to their figure and their dress and their fashion and their makeup and things like that. Men, for better or for worse, we don't really have to worry about that as much. So there are a few different strategies that consistently work to increase your attraction as a man to women. Let's see if I can remember them. Cocky and playful is an old standby from the pickup community. Being like, this is a tough one. It's not the best one, but being like funny, being the funny guy can work. Like there's, but it can also backfire, because at some point you do have to kind of transition from being kind of like goofy and playful to being sexual. And sometimes that can feel like a bait and switch to a woman. Patrice O'Neill used to say, I wish I didn't have to laugh my way into pussy. But that was what he had to do, apparently. There is also like low activation game, which is just sort of like confidence and not giving a woman much energy. That works if you already have, let's say, some reputation buy-in. If you have a table in the VIP bottle section of a club, for instance, you already have some social validation that you have the money to spend on that. So you don't necessarily have to work as hard to attract attention to yourself because like you did that passively with respect to your structure. And so you can actually kind of be a little bit more aloof and withdrawn, which makes you potentially seem even more attractive in that moment, right? But the essence of game is to stimulate an emotional reaction in a woman. That is the easiest way to seduce a woman, is to stimulate an emotional response in her. And it doesn't even really matter what the emotion is. It doesn't even have to be a positive emotion. I mean, that's why negging works on some level.
Which is disrespecting.
It's a teasing, playful disrespecting, yes. It's sort of like treating a girl like your bratty little sister. So it shouldn't be anyway, a real cold-hearted, harsh disrespect. It should be playful. The idea here is that I'm so confident in your presence that I can kind of toy with your beauty that I know will dazzle and stun and petrify other men. It has no effect on me.
Confidence goes a long way.
Confidence is amazing. So one of the things that a lot of guys don't understand, so I've had a few different careers in my life so far. I used to be an actor. And when I was an actor as a young man, it was easier for me to get laid than when I was a rich, successful doctor. It's changed a little bit now that I'm somewhat famous, but until I started the YouTube channel and it blew up, it was much, much harder for me to get laid as a successful entrepreneur, doctor, than being a broke theater actor in New York City. And this is baffling to guys, but the fact of the matter is that you do not need money to get laid. You might need money if you want to get married, but you definitely don't need money to get laid. And a lot of guys, and it's a kind of a function of their male rational mindset. They listen to talks online or they buy programs and what do women want? And they say, okay, women want abs, women want tall guys, women want rich guys. And they think, okay, well, some of those things I can do, some of those things I can't do. So, but it's like, okay, I'll get the abs, check. I'll get the money, check. And so now all I have to do is go up in front of a woman and say, in so many ways, and just let her know, hey, I am a rich guy with abs, and they're supposed to just like line up to fuck them. And let me tell you that's not how it works. So I call those things attraction proxies. Guys really want women to become attracted to them. They hear that these things are what women in general want, and so they say, well, I'll just get those things, and then the attraction will be taken care of. And that's not true. I do consultations all the time with guys who have super yachts down in Miami, who fly private jets, and who cannot get fucking laid because they have no experience picking women up. They don't know how to talk to beautiful women in particular. They don't have any problems with the ones they're not attracted to generally. But obviously that's not the ones that they want. The way to get laid is to learn how to seduce a woman. That's it. Like, you don't need abs. You don't need money. What you need is seduction technique. And the core of seduction is the ability to stimulate an emotional response in somebody else and to guide them through an emotional journey that ultimately culminates in a sexual experience that you've more or less curated for that person.